you will get the truth. Whatever you're gonna sketch, whatever your opinion is, whether it happened or didn't happen, it's gonna be the truth. Figure out who you are. Figure out what your optimum vocation would be. What's the best thing you should do with your time, right? You might learn something about yourself that, you may not even, you might have a knack for collecting stamps or something that you didn't even realize, or you could be a natural artist. Like I know there's a story, I don't know who told me this. Maybe Ed Dames, I don't know. So this guy is like, I don't know what to do with my life. And they sketch a hat. He's like, go make hats. And he went from, I don't know what to do, to having 10 guys and making hats, custom hats. Because you don't know, right? Like
That's right.
that's the beautiful. We have this infinite universe around us. It's like, what do I do? I don't know. It's a big scary world out there. I know lots of people who were successful investing, but they were investors before. I wasn't. I'm a mechanic. The closest thing I got is writing on a laptop, and I've written several books, but it's they're work in progress.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard work. It's hard work writing books, and it's
It
hard
is.
work selling them.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the greatest things that it allowed me to do was I was 36 years old. And like I said, I walked away from a good career I've been doing for 20 years. And I could, for a brief moment in time, I could focus on life enough that I could be like, what really is important?
Mm.
You know, my dog's health is important. Yeah, I could spend days trying to make more money, but it's the little things, like important things. So, like I said, whatever you could put into a question, you can get an answer for. Like, um, you want to move? Well, what would be the best house for you? Right? Maybe you buy a house and there's a safe in the floor you didn't know about. Or maybe you were going to move into a house with major mold problem you didn't know. Again, what is your next optimum residence? Could be any number of reasons. You might, and this happened to a friend of mine, move into your house and there's a beautiful, beautiful lady next door and they hit it off. Like, right? Like we don't know why it's optimum. Back in 2012, um, I had a week vacation coming up at work. It was February. It's like, what should I do for a week? And I drew Dominican Republic. I it is a very the sharp line between Haiti and Dominican Republic. I knew right away what it was and what area of that coastline I was interested in. So I, I traveled 2000 vacation booking sign. I booked the vacation. I flew down by myself. First day, I walked out onto the beach. There's a big scuba diving shack over there. I'm like, I like scuba diving. Let's go scuba diving. And I met some fabulous people. Like it was an amazing week. Way better than staying at home. But that's what I mean. You could use it for anything. Like where to go on vacation? What car should you get? Um, what food should you have for bettering your health? Or what habits should you get? What's the best exercise for you? Because maybe you don't know it, but you get serious back problem developing. Maybe swimming could, get rid of it or strengthen your core so it never becomes as bad. Um, what food you're eating that you should not be eating, because you might have a food allergy at work.
So remote viewing certainly takes you into places that enhance your life in ways that some of your friends and associates, if they don't know you're a remote viewer, they can find a
Yeah.
bit weird.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
for sure.
here's the thing. The ultimate reason why personally I love remote viewing is once you learn to trust yourself, hey, whatever I sketch, this is the truth. There's a few instances where it's not gonna be. It's very rare you deceive yourself, but it's really to protect yourself. Like,
Hmm.
I'll give you an example. Say you're deeply religious and you think that this God is the ultimate best God. If you find out that God is actually made up and it's not real, it's gonna ruin your life. It's like, I dedicated 20 years to this and it's fake. People may not be able to handle it. So in aspects like that, it will lie to him and say, yeah, it's he's real, just carry on because the rest of your life is good. That would break your heart, and we don't want to lose your will.
You
The other
certainly
thing that sorry.
you certainly have to be very open-minded to be a remote viewer and also to hire a remote viewer to do work for you.
So the first thing is you got to trust yourself because
Mm.
you're gonna look at the moon landing, right? You're like, oh, I want to look at the moon landing. You will get the truth. Whatever you're gonna sketch, whatever your opinion is, whether it happened or didn't happen, it's gonna be the truth. Um, there's interesting things all around you. Now, the problem with remote viewing is, see, you're talking to me, I'm talking to you. I could go to the internet and hire 5 guys who say they're remote viewers, but it's like auto mechanics, right? You go to a garage with your car, say, you could have a good auto mechanic. Oh, 50 cent part, 20 minutes. I'm not going to charge you. Or you could get the guy who holds you down, 10 grand, you need a transmission and everything else. Just because somebody's a remote viewer doesn't make them honest. Because I've met guys who claim they're remote viewers and I've seen their work and I'm like, how do you get this from that? The problem becomes an ego. I'm the best remote viewer. You want to hire me for the most amount of money. And it's like, you're not as good as you think they are.
Mhm.
The other problem I see often enough is, again, ego comes into it. Uh, You know, nobody wants to say they don't know, right?
So at least having one other remote viewer working the same
Yeah.
target ensures that you've got some reliable kind of data.
We we generally like to work like no more than 6 because the work gets very repetitive. But like I said earlier in the beginning, if whatever the question is, but you draw a penguin and I draw a penguin and Bob draws a penguin has to be the right answer. If 3 people don't know what the question is, but the answer is a penguin, there's probably a penguin involved. Well, I don't know what the question is, but you're gonna learn to trust it.
That's right.
The trick is do it yourself. It only takes 2, 3 hours to learn the basics and it'll get started. And if you can take those 2, 3 hours, it, if you learn to trust yourself, and I said that a lot, if you can learn to trust yourself, the stuff you will see is phenomenal, mind-boggling.
Sure is.
Because you go on Google, Google is a computer with an algorithm. It's programmed to tell you. I don't know where Google gets the information. It's a computer. It's programmed to know something. Whether it's the truth or not, it's programmed. Like, I don't know what happened to JFK. I've never looked at it. I'm not going to look at it. I don't want to get involved in conspiracy theories. It's like, hey, but if you want to look at it, well, you'll know the answer for yourself, right? Remember, if the answer was a penguin and all these people, you're going to trust yourself that, hey, whatever I saw here, probably the answer. Um, Anybody looking into learning remotely, you do not have to be an artist. If you can do stick figures, it's enough to sort stuff
That's
out.
right.
If you can do a beautiful sketch, great. Doesn't mean it's going to be better. The
No.
problem is you spend so much time making a pretty picture that you start imagining, and that's what we can't have. We can't have imagine. Like going back to the pirate, you can't start imagining where it's gonna be. You gotta stick to the raw information, which means you gotta move at a good pace. You just keep doing it till it's finished. Then you look at it, it's like, hey, I just spent 40 minutes. I drew this. These are the words that came to me. What am I looking at? And you may not figure it out. The answer may not be for you. The answer might be for somebody else. Say your car broke down. It's like, what's the best thing to repair on my car? And you take this sketch to a mechanic and say, listen, this is gonna sound crazy, but I need this replaced in my car. And the mechanic's gonna be like, oh, you need an alternator? All right, well, that'd be $260. But you just saved the diagnostic fees. You saved them potentially putting in batteries, a bunch of other stuff. It's like, hey, change this part of my car. But you saved hassle. You could make your rent payments. So yeah, I mean, you're winning.
It takes you
Oh,
down rabbit holes that some of them are good.
I have to give you one more story. So many
Absolutely.
years ago, I hurt my back. It was pretty bad. And so the optimum health trajectory, I wasn't quite figuring it out. So I said, you know what, like, at least I should go to a chiropractor. Like, my name, Norbert slash optimum chiropractor. And I drew this little building and I drew a bunch of names. But one of the words to describe it was sounds gay. And I'm like, that's a hell of a thing, sounds gay. So Google's easy, right? I typed in, you know, chiropractor, the map pops up, and I started looking at buildings. One of these buildings is going to be a match. And sure enough, downtown London, there was a chiropractor office that matched. So I go on their website to see who it is. And I'm telling you, I laughed. Like I was in pain, but I laughed. His name was Dr. B.J. Hardick. I'm like, that sounds gay, but he's the man. And I went there, and the guy was phenomenal, right? So the whatever information will, whatever you get, will be for you to make the most information. If it's not for you, maybe the doctor or somebody else. But typically, by yourself, you'll be able to figure out most of your problems with remote viewing. See, if I just need a chiropractor, I can go on Google review and maybe 100 people like that guy, maybe 100 people work, but I could be the one that he's going to put into a wheelchair. I don't know. Whereas for me, that gentleman, Dr. Hardick, he really was a good chiropractor. So many things you could use it for. Like,
Hmm.
it's like saying, well, I'll get a computer. What can I use a computer for? Well, you can use a computer for whatever you want. Your conscious or unconscious mind will not let you self-destruct. So if you think you're gonna make millions and millions, would you really be a better? You might think you're happier being a millionaire. You're not gonna be happier, right? If anything, it might teach you that less is more.
Hmm.
And if you focus on the important things in life, you're already won, right? Because look what happens. We're going to spend, 30, 40, 50 years in the rat race trying to make money as we get old. We lose sight of the things that's important. What's important? I get a 5-year-old grandkid. If I could play with him all day long, that's important.
That's right.
Whether I go to work in a Lamborghini or my 20-year-old Volkswagen, still gets me there at the same time. And even better, I'm not actually stressed out that someone's gonna key my car, right? It's like, but but
That's
but
right.
seriously, no. What is it that you really need? You need basic transportation. If you figure out the basics, everything else is bonus.
Well, it's been great, Norbert. I think that's been fantastic, actually. And you've got so much to talk about. We could do another show easily. I know that.
Oh, easily. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get somebody else in and I'll come back. I'm here and waiting. So.
Yeah.